Oh, good lord, Lana caused a lot of controversy in the last part. Not only did she admit to hiding evidence of Joe Darke, she and Gant may be responsible for someone being tried for a crime they didn't commit. Even though he was a serial killer and he needed to be put away, in technicality that's false imprisonment. In other words, the fact that Joe Darke was pinned for this crime means one thing. This story is going way deeper. And because of Capcom's lack of subtlety, only one man can be blamed for this. Damon Gant. And yeah, Damon Gant is as corrupt as you think he is. Because after all, he did order Meekins to put in and put out the Blue Badger statue in the evidence room, where the Blue Badger was inadvertently covering up the blood of somebody else. And now, seeing as how Emma is traumatized by this, and the fact that she couldn't even testify, there's more to this story than meets the eye. And obviously, Gant will have to explain himself, or we'll end up finding out one of the two, because after all, this is what we do. It's what we've been doing for the entirety of the game. And this is actually the longest investigation throughout the entirety of the game. You could tell by the time, and I know not many people will be interested to see this because of the fact that it's longer than 40 minutes, but that's how Phoenix Wright is. And if you look at the case, you'll probably see all the names of the victims. You will also see Joe Darke getting the death sentence. You'll see the persecutor. You'll see the witnesses. You will also see the head investigator, who was also a witness. You'll also see the investigators involved. And the guy over it. It's safe to say, Bruce Goodman dying was no coincidence. And more importantly, Bruce Goodman dying may be the downfall of Damon Gant, if for some reason he's in any way, shape, or form responsible for any of the killings. And that's practically what we're gonna prove. Because after all, this guy did make it a point to pull out the switchblade as evidence several parts ago, gave evidence to a phony murder, and give us the ring around, basically. And you wonder why Jake Marshall is pissed off. Well, aside from being demoted, he's pissed off right then and there because of the fact that his brother is dead and he has no answers. And that is the reason why he did what he did in the evidence room back in the last part. Okay, that's one of the reasons. The other will be explained later. So, let's see. Permanent picture. We might want to talk about that. Because in the entirety of this whole ordeal, Lana had brought Emma to practically pick her up. Yeah, that's what it is. Emma came to pick up Lana so that they both could go home and go out to dinner. And she had some things to wrap up. Joe Darke gets out of the interrogation room, goes into Gant's office, and tries to kill Lana, but Neil was there and saved Emma, but I meant to say Emma, not Lana, god damn it. Neil was there and tries to save Emma, however, Neil is dead. Somehow, someway, he's dead, but Lana doesn't remember anything past the fact of Joe Darke trying to kill her, and more importantly, almost stabbing Neil Marshall. But but something tells me she's gonna recollect with bits and pieces over the entirety of the course of this investigation, let alone the course of the last trial of the game, which is a three-parter, which is a three-part trial by the game standards, which is technically the last 7 parts of this playthrough. So yeah, I said 6, I know, but 7 because we gotta take the credits into account, because they're really goddamn long. So with that said, I am not too fond of this case, in case anybody is wondering. So why did I play it? Because I like Phoenix Wright. And I'm willing to play all cases no matter how good or how terrible they are. I'll try not to complain too much when it comes down to Justice for All. Of that I promise you. So, Edgeworth was pretty much already up shit's creek without a paddle because of the fact that he was given false evidence. And then his dealings with Red White completely destroyed whatever reputation he had. So it was all going straight downhill from there. He was practically doing what everybody accused Manfred von Karma of doing. So in other words, it's practically this whole entire case is trying to retcon the fact that Von Karma taught Edgeworth how to be a ruthless persecutor who would cheat to win. So, with that said, there has to be a reason why a serial killer was coming into the office. The serial killer was let loose because he purposely turned himself in just so he could have an attempt at a police officer. That's the whole thing. That's the reason why he was able to get into the interrogation office and eventually try to kill an officer or somebody in law enforcement, because he turned himself in on purpose to try to push his luck. And his luck ran out the moment he was arrested. The man was going to go to jail, plain and simple. He was going to get the capital punishment for the 5 people he killed. Killing a persecutor all but guaranteed it. However, he probably didn't do it, considering the fact that the evidence against him was forged. And now that that's the case, we need to find out why it's forged and who really killed Neil Marshall. That is the biggest question mark the entirety of this case, on top of trying to find out who killed Bruce Goodman. So we've got to go to the detention center and talk to Lana, because Lana has some explaining to do. And yet she stands stoic. Ever so stoic. You know, this is a losing battle keeping you out of prison. You are literally hanging yourself and giving the enemy a huge amount of rope to hang you off of. This is not easy for me. And if I have to expose a lot of people just so that you do not go to jail for murder, I will do that. But you are definitely making this an uphill battle. I mean, it can't all be easy, but damn, this is just absurd. And as it turns out, the whole ordeal with the SL9 evidence, that was her doing. That's right. She uncovered the truth about the fact that Joe Darke was put away for something he truly didn't do. Although he tried to, he didn't do it. And she also made it to where she could tell him to go get the evidence from SL9 so that he will be able to start the case. And there's not much she could do because she sold her soul, and whoever it is she sold her soul to will probably use it to their advantage. Unfortunately, you know that picture we kept seeing? I mean, it's not hard to put two and two together. She stabbed her own hand to make it look like Goodman was actually stabbed and murdered. Which means one thing. Goodman was already dead by the time this has happened. I know, this is a no dumb moment. We all know how Capcom is. But get used to seeing this picture, this actual badass picture right here of Lana with a badass pose and Gant looking like, yeah, I did something awesome. That pose right there, because you're going to keep seeing that a lot, considering the fact that everybody has something to say about Damon Gant and how this man may be far more sinister than what he let on. I mean, he's infamous, very infamous, but he is beyond sinister. Although not as sinister as Manfred von Karma, still sinister nonetheless. Because his little situation, it was a 2-year ordeal. Manfred's was damn near 15. And as soon as he became chief of police, he pretty much arranged for Lana to become a persecutor. And that's because of the fact that he wanted to keep both the prosecutor's office and the police under his watchful eye. So, on that note, whatever problems that took place... excuse me, I'm really tired. I apologize for that. All took place with Damon Gant. And Detective Goodman, Jake Marshall, Angel Star, they were trying so hard to find Joe Darke. But unfortunately, Joe Darke ended up being arrested anyway, but not by them. Excuse me 1 second, it's a little bit too hot in here. I'll be right back. Stupid Florida heat. Anyway, well, Lana only came in from the tail end of the situation, but when she showed up, she was the first person on the crime. And honestly, she should have said that from the beginning. Unfortunately, she didn't, because she felt that Phoenix Wright was not trustworthy. So on that note, we waited until she literally exposed the fact that she brought phony evidence to the trial to put Joe Darke to death to even mention this. You are just making more hurdles, and even worse. The murder was done in her office. Emma passed out. Joe Darke was already unconscious. And Neil Marshall is dead with a knife sticking out of his back. In other words, it would seem that this was indeed a setup. And let's be honest, Emma did not deserve to go through this. Neither did Lana. So, Joe Darke was placed under arrest because Emma was a detective. At the time, she was not a persecutor. So, to make sure that everything was legit, she went and sent Jake Marshall to the evidence room to try to recover the SL9 evidence. If it wasn't for Jake Marshall, we would not be at this point. While yes, it was reckless for him to do so, and neither she nor Jake Marshall didn't know that Meekins was going into the evidence room. That was a Damon Gant plan, which further puts a lot of suspicion on Damon Gant. So on that note, we're going to be moving over to the police station, hopefully to get in touch with Damon Gant. Oh, we have to go to the police entrance. God damn it. We accidentally jumped the gun. Oh, bugger. Well, we're gonna have to step outside. We kinda have no choice. So on that note, let's move over to the police department entrance. And it's over here that we're gonna have to talk to a certain someone who's about to go to jail for assault and battery with a deadly weapon on an officer. Jake Marshall. Who, by the way, just lost his job. Permanently. But then again, he practically knew that he was going to get in trouble one day. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the blood on the cactus, that's his. He accidentally touched Billy and it pricked him. That's his blood. So on that note, the real reason why he did it, the real reason why he did what he did was because of the fact that his brother died, and the only person who probably would know this would be Damon Gant and Lana Skye, and they aren't telling him anything. That's why he did it. So, the inconsistency just so happens to be the murder weapon. Which, by the way, it was a knife with a broken tip that happened to be claimed as the murder weapon. Except there's one problem. The blade was not a perfect match. In fact, the wound was actually bigger. And the only reason why that was actually submitted was because of the fact that the case had put in a bogus murder weapon and was immediately closed. And as we go on further and further with this case, the more we realize, I mean, Jake looked like a cold person, but he was trying to seek his justice, as was Angel Star. They practically, up until Angel perjured in court and Jake did what he did in the evidence room, did nothing wrong. However, there's something that keeps becoming strange. The King of Persecutors trophy. There is something about that trophy that pretty much bugs the shit out of me. Because you saw the picture, right? When Neil was holding the trophy looked a hell of a lot different. And the worst part is, it was on the very day he won that trophy was the very day he ended up dead. So on that note, That's a terrible omen. And Edgeworth has that trophy now? Oh, shit! Wow! Not only is that cathartic, that's just downright evil. They don't think anything of Edgeworth. Wow! Even putting a dead body in his car! But whatever the case, if they would have removed Bruce Goodman, things would have been rather suspicious. And that they who removed everybody off of the case was Lana, Skye, and Damon Gant. And the reason they did that, someone knows who killed Neil Marshall, and it was not Joe Darke. And before anybody could explain or at least investigate for it, demotions and terminations were handed. Wow. The more this case goes on, the more I say Damon Gant is a really good villain, because he is just practically covering his tracks as we go along. I mean, Capcom's subtlety definitely points to him as the bad guy, because he's the only one that can actually get away with that on a high level. But as it goes on, come the last day of the whole entire case, you will hate this case. You will despise this case. And that whole double murder was just an absolute waste of time. And there is something the matter here. There is a reason why Lana would go through such great lengths to do what she did, and she's not telling us. And he finally had admitted that Edgeworth was never his enemy from the start. However, the enemy here is Damon Gant. So on that note, Jake Marshall is gonna drink his sorrows away. Or probably drink his sorrows to jail, whichever one comes first. But considering the fact that he's been drinking on the job, I'm surprised he still had a job. Well, on to criminals wait, no. Actually, no. Now that I stop and think about it, we're gonna have to go to the underground parking lot first. Oh wait, no. Criminals Affairs. That's where we need to go. Then we'll be going to the underground parking lot. We kind of have no choice, because we'll be going over to the prosecution's office. Because, unfortunately, we have no choice. So why are we coming here? To meet Gumshoe. And, more importantly, we're gonna have to get confirmation from Gumshoe in order to even remotely investigate this place. However, Damon Gant is nowhere to be found. And the chief detective literally just let those guys waltz right into Damon Gant's office. So eventually we'll have to get Gumshoe later on. But for now, off to Damon Gant's office. There's some clues that needs to be found. And an explanation. There has to be an explanation for everything that is... Oh, crap! This man literally has Ganondorf's organ right in his goddamn office. That huge-ass organ! Dude, we're gonna have to play tennis with an energy ball. I swear to God if we have to. This would be like the best case, but unfortunately it wouldn't. Well, we won't have to, and that's a sad thing, because after all... Oh, wait, what? Did she accidentally trigger Damon Gant? Oh, she did. Oh. Emma, you idiot. You just summoned him over to his office. Well, so much for the investigation. Oh, God. He's asking if we've been swimming lately, which means one thing. He's about to say something rather serious in 3, 2, 1, and... oh, yeah. His demeanor is going to be changing pretty soon, because he's jovial now. And he actually gave us the one clue that we may need. Look in the background. Take a good look in the background. Hey, doesn't that vase look familiar? Hey, hold on. Give me a second. There's the King of Prosecutors trophy. Yeah, that trophy looks familiar, but also, doesn't that vase look familiar, ladies and gentlemen? It should. Because that's the vase we were trying to put together throughout the entirety of this case. It was in his office. But there's something else that was there too. Look in the corner of the picture. Study that picture. It will come back to haunt you later. So on that note, his demeanor may seem calm now. But had pause mean one thing. He's kicking us out. And, he means he's kicking us out. And, he is in a rush to kick everybody out. And there's that demeanor change. If you just look at this man. Jesus Christ. He's jovial 1 minute, serious the next. He's practically the devil himself, hence the name Damon. But nonetheless, the only time you know that shit's about to go down is when he asks, "Have you been swimming lately?" And for those who's played this case so many times, that one line will haunt you for the rest of your time, because you know Damon Gant's about to do something serious. So let's go on ahead and move to the underground parking lot, or criminal affairs department, actually. Seeing as how we've been kicked out of Damon Gant's office, we might as well. So, Gumshoe looks despondent. Very. In fact, he's now been reduced to gopher. Because of his ties with Edgeworth. I mean, he's not fired, that's a good thing, but still, he's been pretty much reduced to gopher. And as for Edgeworth, we haven't seen much of Edgeworth after this whole ordeal. And we need to find out exactly what he's up to. Because this is a serious situation. I mean, if we could actually find out what the hell is going on, the right person may go to jail. But unfortunately, right now, there's so many cover-ups. So first, let's talk about Edgeworth's crisis. Of course, Edgeworth would be blamed for this, considering his past with Wright. But Lana Skye is also in the hot seat because she did this too. And there is no excuse, or should I say ignorance is no excuse for the law. As such, Edgeworth had pretty much put himself under fire with his talent. And again, the whole situation with Wright. I'm going to keep bringing that up, by the way. Because after all, he did not have that to do. Excuse me one second. Canteen of water. Because at the time of this, I had some blood testing done. And I have to go back. Anyway, we're probably gonna have to try to convince Gumshoe. Sorry if you hear my water canteen in the background. We're gonna have to convince Gumshoe to let us into Damon Gant's office. And Gumshoe took a good look at the SL9 file, and the only thing he found was some things that were classified. The only evidence was actually found was the knife. That's the only thing. And Gumshoe doesn't even realize that Emma was the girl that was about to be killed. I would say that's insensitive, but he didn't know. I mean, he only read some of the file. He didn't read all of it, because if he did, he probably would have put 2 and 2 together. So, on that note, we need to show him that broken switchblade in order for us to continue. And that's one of the things that we need to do in order to keep questioning him. So, either the broken switchblade, or also... I think it was the broken switchblade. That's the only thing. So let's present that. So... Oh, and that's my charger, too. My phone keeps... No, my charger keeps falling out of my phone. So, now that we've actually shown him the murder weapon... It turns out Damon Gant, on the day of Goodman's murder, had brought that to the trial with it wrapped inside of Lana's scarf. And that knife was literally, excuse me, connected to SL9 because of Phoenix. And that was way back in part 43, if I'm not mistaken. No, wait, 42. Never mind, 42. No. Yeah, that's right. Part 42. That's right. But good lord. No, wait, no. A little bit further than that. It's actually part 40. But that's not the point. The point of the matter is, Gant presented that knife, its evidence, and we still had it quite some time. So, the tip was inside of Neil Marshall. So now we have the tip of the knife that was inside of Neil Marshall in an evidence bag. So that's Neil Marshall's autopsy report. Make sure you read that. And also, the knife itself has been updated. And the thing is, Joe Darke was a businessman who was, well, driven to serial killing. Because he accidentally killed somebody with a car. And then from there... he killed the witness, and then killed the witness of somebody who witnessed and killed the second one, then killed the third witness, and then kept killing the witness and the witness and the witness until finally he turned himself in. That was, what the hell? That's the stupidest murder, that's the stupidest murder in the face of the planet. I mean, he literally killed someone, then killed the witness in front of... He accidentally killed somebody. Instead of turning himself in, he kills a witness. Then the witness who saw him kill the witness ends up getting killed. And so on and so on and so on. So he turns himself in to try to kill the police to make sure he doesn't get turned in. Yeah, he's a dumbass. No wonder he got killed. Well, capital punishment, at least. Oh, but the chief is out now, and we're gonna have to go into his office. And, the only other way we can is through Gumshoe. I wasn't kidding when I said we need a gumshoe to get in. Problem, we're gonna have to actually convince him to get in. Oh boy. So, on that note, he did mention that he's not planning on getting fired. Oh, and by the way, it turns out that Bruce Goodman's ID card no longer works in the system because his file has been deleted after the whole Jake Marshall incident. So, with that said, we no longer have any reason for us to be here right now. Later on, we do. So we're going to be moving over to the prosecutor's parking lot, where we will meet Angel Star. And if you manage to get all of her food items, which, by the way, she would appear to give the food items, then you'll get the achievement. On that note, actually you'll have to make some wrong answers in the trial against her. That was how you get the rest of her food items. So, we're gonna have to go into the prosecutor's office. And that's our next stop. Edgeworth will have to make some explanations. Well, actually, we don't meet Lana until we leave out of Edgeworth. My bad, I made a mistake. But on that note, Edgeworth was doing something very important. And he threw the paper underneath the desk. We'll find out exactly what that paper is. But one thing's for sure, Edgeworth's not too glad to see us. And facts, he's pretty on edge. And who could blame him? So we've got some things to talk about, and we'll find out what's on Edgeworth's mind in part 48 as we continue the investigation, and hopefully whatever we could get from Edgeworth can at least convince Gumshoe to help us to investigate Gant's office. See you guys next time on Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney.